Hello, Dave here with another Hollybush Railway video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a brand new TT120 locomotive from Hornby, the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway A1 class, or as most people know them, Terriers. If there's one thing that's been missing from Hornby's TT120 range so far, it's a small steam locomotive that can be used for suburban passenger trains, rural branch lines or for shunting. While the J50s were announced way back in April 2024, we're still waiting on them arriving. Meanwhile, the Terriers from this year's big April product launch have beaten them to the tracks. Now, as I understand it from Hornby forum regular Tim Allen, the J50s are currently expected in the new year, hopefully around January. And cheers Tim for all your hard work keeping us all up to date on when things are looking likely to arrive. Anyway, that's all for future videos. On to the Terrier. The London, Brighton and South Coast Railway's William Stroudley designed these 060 tank engines to cater for the growth in suburban traffic around London and the south coast of England. 50 members of the class were built between 1872 and 1880 at the Brighton Railway Works. The one modelled here by Hornby is number 40, Brighton, resplendent in Stroudley's improved engine green livery. Evidently Stroudley's idea of improving green was to make it a yellowy orange. This locomotive was chosen by Stroudley to represent the LB&SCR at the 1878 Paris exhibition, where it won a gold medal for the quality of its workmanship. Number 40 entered service in March 1878, operating out of the Battersea sheds serving routes in and around London. When the Terriers were eventually displaced from London services by more modern, larger, more powerful locomotives, many of the Terriers were sold on and found themselves operating rural branch lines and shunting, with number 40 moving to the Isle of Wight. When they came to the end of their commercial operating lives, a number of them were bought up by Butlins for static exhibition at their holiday parks. Such was the case for number 40 Brighton here, and I've recently found out number 60 Martello, later renumbered 662, found itself at Butlins Heads of Ayr holiday park. In the video where I was looking at the four-wheel coaches, I'd said I was going to have a Terrier on my Ayrshire set railway purely through model rail rule number 1, run whatever you like, just because I liked the way it looked. Now I know that one of these Terriers actually did come all the way up, not just to Scotland, but to Ayr itself, although as a static exhibit rather than in full steam. Number 662 has since moved to Bressingham Steam and Gardens, where it has been restored to full working condition. Whilst it was on display at Heads of Ayr, it sat alongside another locomotive, Duchess of Sutherland, which is also coming soon to TT120, so that's another one that I'm going to have to buy. As for Brighton itself, it was on display at Butlins in Pwllheli in Wales from 1963 to 1973, when it returned to the Isle of Wight, where it was restored by the Isle of Wight Steam Railway Company. And apologies to everyone in Wales for my pronunciation of Pwllheli. Hornby's model of Brighton arrived with me yesterday, and after a little bit of running in, I have to say I am absolutely blown away by it. The Terriers are famously small locomotives, and the detail that Hornby have managed to fit into a 1:120 recreation of it are absolutely stunning. There is beautifully clear drop shadow printing on the name down the side of the loco. Company name and loco number plates, I have to get a camera close-up on them just to get a look at the details that my eyesight just can't pick up on. The pipework and the cab details are simply incredible, and I do not for a second envy whoever's job it was to assemble all of these absolutely tiny fine parts. Now, for such a little engine, it is remarkably weighty. Hornby's website lists the weight at 50 grams, which might not sound like a lot, but in such a small loco, the extra weight of that die-cast chassis is going to help a lot with the traction. I don't have scales finely calibrated enough to do a proper comparison, but I'd say it's roughly the same weight as my 08 shunter, which I have added a fair bit of lead shot to improve its operation over points. This is also the first of Hornby's TT120 locos to come with a coreless motor fitted as standard, rather than the 3-pole ones that the first locos in the scale had. Now hopefully this is going to improve their long-term reliability, as I had a few issues with the motors in Blink Bonnie, Falcon and the 08. Time will tell for that, but right now there is a huge difference in how the Terrier handles. I'm running my layout with DC analog control from a Morley Vortrac, so I can't comment on digital DCC HM7000 operation. I can say that on DC, this is the smoothest starting loco I have had yet. The motor's very quiet, and everything just ran beautifully right out of the box. It doesn't seem to have suffered the over lubrication that some other locos have had. My 66 was practically dripping out oil when I ran it in. Now hopefully that's a sign that quality control in the factories where these are manufactured is improving. I got a question on how well this handles dead frog points in a thread on Hornby's forum by Brighton CA. Now this is a small wheelbase 060 loco that's running on DC control, so it's not uncommon for locos like this to have problems on dead frog points. Hornby have fitted the motor with a flywheel which should help keep some momentum. If you want to run this with DCC control, it does look as if fitting a power bank is going to be a challenge. There's precious little space inside, although I'm sure someone out there will find a way to do it. So far I'm finding that it will run reasonably slowly through the points on my layout. Of course, with DC control and therefore no power bank, it's not going to manage a dead slow crawl over insulated points, but I'm happy with how slowly I can have my Terrier operating in my goods yard. This is absolutely the kind of train that I have been wanting for my layout. Whilst the big express locos like Falcon and the Intercity are great, in the size that I have and for the kind of small town setting that I'm building, then the trains I want to run are these smaller, slower commuter types, where the landscape can feel huge around them. A Terrier with a handful of four-wheel coaches trundling along behind it fits the scene here beautifully. Thanks for watching this look at Hornby's new TT120 LB&SCR A1 locomotive, number 40 Brighton. If you've enjoyed this, then please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. There's lots of new TT120 locos coming soon, with the Class 37, the B4 of the branch line freight set, the J50s and Helgen's Class 122 rail cars, all expected in the next few months, as well as a few more model railway exhibitions before the end of the year. Take care, and I'll see you soon for the next video. Cheers.